Something rather magical has happened to Harrison. 1923's Helen Mirren says Harrison Ford's acting has changed in the last few years, and she thinks she knows why. Helen Mirren opens up about her 1923 co-star Harrison Ford, as she explains how an exchange that she had with the celebrated actor showed how he has changed his attitude and approach to acting in recent years. A prequel set long before the events of Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone series, the Paramount Plus spin-off depicts the Dutton family facing the challenges of a rapidly changing America following the First World War and throughout the 1920s. As 1923 Season 2 approaches in February, Mirren and Ford are set to reprise their roles of Kara and Jacob Dutton, the family's then leaders. As the Wall Street Journal sat down with Ford ahead of his return in 1923 and MCU debuted in Captain America: Brave New World, Mirren shares how she has felt working alongside the actor on the Paramount Plus series. While Mirren states that working with Ford on their first project together in 1983's The Mosquito Coast left her with the impression that Ford was withdrawn and reluctant to be the huge star that he found himself becoming, she noticed with their reunion in 1923 that he has become much more open and vulnerable. Mirren then opens up about an exchange during the filming of a bloody scene in 1923, where Ford alluded to him looking like how he did after his 2015 near-fatal plane crash, suggesting to her that the incident shifted his perspective. Check out Mirren's explanation below. While the 2015 incident isn't the only plane crash that Ford has experienced as a pilot, the actor has previously discussed how that particular event has weighed on him. After his vintage aircraft suffered engine failure, Ford was forced to make an emergency landing on a golf course, with Ford being left hospitalized with a large laceration and several broken bones for almost a month. While he has returned to flying, Ford stated he hopes never to go through an experience like it again, and recognizing that it was a difficult period for his family. Furthermore, upon receiving the scripts for 1923, Ford stated that he immediately felt many similarities with Jacob due to how their experiences carried some parallels, including the scene Mirren had described. The scene was something he could emotionally relate to what he and wife Callista Flockhart went through following the 2015 incident. Though Ford may have returned to flying and enjoyed many more roles since, it is evident that his experience has added new weight to how he views certain roles, perhaps giving him a unique perspective. Mirren isn't the only person to have noticed an apparent change in Ford's career across his recent roles. While it may have been a role that propelled him into widespread acclaim, Ford has admitted he didn't want to be limited to being recognized as Star Wars' Han Solo, and wished for a different fate in Return of the Jedi. Nevertheless, the actor returned to the role in 2015, and 2019's The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, adding a new layer to the character with an enthusiastic portrayal. While it didn't meet expectations at the box office, Ford's return in Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny offered a fitting farewell to the character, one which Ford had been eager to fulfill. While Ford's enthusiasm with these cases may be partly due to the actor finally being able to leave these characters with the ending they deserve, Mirren's 1923 observations could hint that Ford's new perspective gave him more insight into approaching them. This same level of insight seems to have carried over into his Yellowstone spin-off, with Ford's portrayal of Jacob Dutton affording him the ability to reflect his near-death experience in his work. The strong cast of 1923 also bolsters this approach, as the characters surrounding the ranch's patriarch give him plenty of unique personalities to bounce off of. With life-threatening events always around every corner, Ford's character appears to embrace every day, just as the actor himself does. This parallel makes it even more obvious how his views on acting have changed in recent years. February 2025 won't just see Ford return as Jacob Dutton. He'll also be making his debut as Thaddeus Ross in Captain America. Brave New World, picking up the character's mantle after William Hurt's death in 2022. Alongside his MCU debut, he's also expected to return as Dr. Paul Rhodes in Apple TV Plus's Shrinking Season 3. The actor taking on varied roles, from superhero to western to drama, is emblematic of how open he's become to portraying characters with different layers of depth to them, having no particular preference for what type of movie they're part of. Given the many different roles he's had in recent years and will continue to take, the seasoned actor will likely continue playing varied characters that he wants to bring to life. As for 1923, Season 2 will mark the end of his time as Jacob Dutton, the last time he'll be playing the role whose moments have personal connections to him. However, future career prospects can help fill that void as he keeps bringing his expertise to new roles in both movies and TV shows going forward. Helen Mirren has always believed in a certain kind of magic, the kind that exists in the subtleties of human expression, in the quiet moments between words, in the way an actor carries the weight of a character's history on their shoulders. And when it comes to Harrison Ford, she has seen something rather magical unfold before her very eyes. Mirren, who stars alongside Ford in the Paramount Plus series 1923, has worked with him before, decades ago in The Mosquito Coast. Back then, she was captivated by his presence, the sheer force of his rugged charisma, his ability to inhabit a role with unshakable confidence. But in recent years, something has changed. Not diminished, no, quite the opposite. His acting has evolved in a way that, to her, feels almost alchemical, and she thinks she knows why. There's a kind of softening Mirren uses, her voice carrying the weight of admiration and curiosity. A deepening. Harrison has always been a brilliant actor, but now there's something else at play, something rather magical. Ford, known for his stoic intensity, has long been Hollywood's quintessential leading man. From Han Solo to Indiana Jones, from Rick Deckard to Jack Ryan, he has defined generations of heroes with a kind of effortless grit. But as he has aged, something within him seems to have shifted. There's a different kind of vulnerability, a new willingness to let emotion play across his face in ways that once felt elusive. Mirren suspects that this transformation is tied not just to the passing of time, but to the experiences Ford has gathered over the years. Loss, love, triumph, failure, all of these things shape a person, and for an actor, they become tools in the craft. He's always been precise, she says, eyes twinkling, always known exactly what he's doing. But now there's a looseness to him, a freedom that's utterly compelling. It's as if he's finally allowing himself to simply be within a role, rather than constructing something external. Ford's turn as Jacob Dutton in 1923 is proof of this evolution. The role demands more than just the grizzled determination of a hardened rancher. It requires a depth of emotion that is raw and unfiltered. And Ford delivers. There's a weight in his gaze, an unspoken sorrow that lingers in his silences, an authenticity that makes his performance feel like it's lived rather than acted. Mirren recalls watching him on set during an especially moving scene. It wasn't about dialogue or action, it was about presence. The way Ford stood, the way his breath hitched just slightly, the way his eyes seemed to hold an entire history within them. It's breathtaking, she says, and it's not something you can fake. She wonders if part of this change comes from Ford's personal life. He has spoken openly in recent years about his love for his wife, Callista Flockhart, and the peace he has found in their relationship. He has also embraced the joys of flying, of conservation work, of simply being in the world in a way that seems less concerned with Hollywood's expectations and more attuned to his own sense of purpose. There's a serenity to him now, Mirren observes. Even when he's playing a character who is in turmoil, there's this undercurrent of wisdom, of acceptance. It makes his performances richer, more profound. Of course, Ford would likely scoff at such analysis. He has never been one to indulge in grand discussions about his craft. To him, acting is simply the job, the work. But those who watch him, those who truly see him, know that something remarkable has happened. And Mirren, with her decades of experience and her own keen instincts, is certain of it. The greatest actors, she says, are the ones who grow, who evolve, who allow themselves to change with time rather than resist it. Harrison has done that, whether he realizes it or not. And perhaps that is the magic of it all. Not an illusion, not a trick, but a transformation born of life itself. Something rather magical indeed.